Welcome to Lockdown Minis. I'm Richard, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I painted the Ratling Twins from Blackstone Fortress, Rein Raus. I've already primed both minis, so I'm going to start off with a highlight from above, leaving the shadows in the recesses underneath. Now onto the flesh, which I'm just using Ratling Flesh shade just to go over that highlight that I've done earlier. This is just a really quick way of doing flesh. For the clothing, I'm using Sick Green by Vallejo, and just for the lighter areas of the clothes, such as the collar and the cuffs, I'm just using Dead Flesh, also by Vallejo. For the bedroll, I'm just using quite a light brown for this, which is Leather Brown by Vallejo. I use the same colour for the belt around Rouse's waist, and also for the rope on the grappling gun. Now moving on to Beastie Brown by Vallejo, and I just use this as my base for anything leather. Here I'm moving on to a shade for the clothing. I'm just going to shade the whole lot with a Phonian Camo shade by Citadel. Now moving on to non-oil, where I'm just going to coat all that leather that I painted with the Beastie Brown earlier. For the green chest plates, I'm just using dark green by Vallejo, which is basically just dark angel green. Back to the shading for the leather areas, I'm just using Agrax Earth Shade to go over them and just bring that brown back that I may have taken off when I went over with the black. I'm also going to go over that bedroll as well that I painted earlier. I'm just going to work over all the areas that I want black, just with black by Vallejo. Now I'm going to pick out all the metal areas that I want to remain like a metallic colour. So I'm going to use for this Silver by Vallejo, which I believe in the Citadel range is very much the same as Mithril Silver. Now I'm going to be picking out just some of the details on these metal areas with bright bronze by Vallejo. This is just to make them a little bit more interesting. I find that if they're just solid metal, they become quite boring. So it's quite easy just to add in a bit of bronze, and it really makes them pop out a little bit more, and makes them a little bit more interesting. I'm using a small amount of red here, just to pick out some of the red details, such as there's a small wire on Raus's headset, and also there's a few bits and explosives on Rein's. I spot a few areas here that I've missed with the silver and the brown, so I'm just going back to these on the palette while they're still wet, and I'll pick up on these areas now. Here I'm using a little bit of white, just for the hair on Raus, both on his face and then feet. I'm using here Mute Green by Citadel, just for the lenses on Raus's headset, and also the screen on the Rein's little handheld monitor. Now a quick wash here over the chest plates with Biotan Green. Now I'm just using some Nuln Oil, just to go over and shade some of the areas that I painted earlier black, and the metallic areas that I painted in both bronze and silver. Just going to use some wolf grey now to pick out some highlights on the black, and also the black hair for Rein. Just picking out a few small areas, and then just edge highlighting for the black on the rifle, and any other areas that I painted black earlier. And to finish them both off, just using black by Vallejo to go over them bases. I'll come back to these bases later on. I've got a good plan of what I'm going to do with these now. It's just getting the execution right. And here they are finished. Rein and Raus from Blackstone Fortress, the Ratling Twins. Hope you've enjoyed watching me paint these guys. Really fun models to paint, and really quite easy as well. Only a few really simple steps to painting them. I am working my way through the whole Blackstone Fortress set, from the early releases and eventually into the new releases when that comes out, and the final release, which hopefully will be soon, and hopefully I'll have all these done by the time that comes around. If you want to see more of these, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. I'd love to hear any comments. Next time we'll be painting UR-025. I'll see you then.